Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our STIHL Timbersports Arena here in Malvern. We have got a wonderful programme ready for you, lovely people. This morning, our Women's British Championships on this very stage. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Alex Kirkley. I'm your host and MC, and I'm joined by the wonderful Canadian commentator, our expert, our in-house expert, Mr. Troy Mannering, all the way from Vancouver via Munich. Hello, Troy. Welcome to the fair British Isles.
Hi, Alex. Thanks very much. Well, the sun is shining, the birds are tweeting, and if you guys want to tweet, that's a good idea too, because we're going to have 9 absolutely fantastic women on stage destroying blocks of wood, and we hope you enjoy this British Women's Championship here for 2025.
Thank you, Troy. Yes, we have some of the best female athletes this country has to offer on this stage very, very shortly. And we're going to see some high-octane, frenetic timber sports using axes, saws, and chainsaws. I hope you're ready, folks, because we certainly are. Now, we need our judges, our technical officials. These are the eyes and the ears to oversee our wonderful sport. We're celebrating 40 years of STIHL Timbersports this year. So let's crack on. Let's introduce our judges onto the stage. Please welcome Bart Jansen. And Andy Hall. And now it's time to get this show really underway. We're going to welcome out our athletes. Please welcome onto the stage for our 2025 British Female Championships. Here we go. Firstly, making her debut from Dorset, it's Sophie Wren. Another debutante, a local girl from Evesham, Worcestershire, Louise Ellison. And the third of our debutantes today, from Powys in Wales, it's Izzy Bignall. All right, all the way from Powys in Wales, former British champion. Let's welcome Zoe Penlington. From Ayrshire in Scotland, it's Kat Eccles. Another proud Welshwoman to the stage, Georgia Lewis. And another former Great British champion. Here we have Justine Ellis. Complete with the fan club as well. All right, our penultimate contestant, third place last year. Let's welcome on Rachel Farrington. And our runner-up from 2024, here she comes, Libby Arrowsmith. So there we have our athletes primed and ready to go. Troy, what can we expect from today's action?
Well, we can absolutely expect some great wood chopping and cutting here in 4 disciplines for our women. And we'll show you briefly the competition format clip so you know how this competition is going to be run from beginning to end and how we're going to award the points.
The STIHL Timbersports Women's Competition. All athletes will compete in 4 disciplines. The maximum points awarded for each discipline result from the number of participating athletes. The first discipline is the stock saw. The fastest athlete will receive points equal to the total number of athletes competing, down to 1 point for the last place in each discipline. The second event is the standing block chop. Points remain the same, awarded based on times, and as with all events, any rule infraction will result in a disqualification and the athlete will receive 0 points for that discipline. As the third discipline, every competitor will need to show their skill in the single butt. And in the underhand chop, it's the athlete's last chance to claim valuable points. The points from all disciplines are accumulated, and the athlete with the highest point total wins the competition.
All right, back in studio, and I am joined by Alex, who is just finishing the festivities on stage. Well done.
Yeah, it's looking hot out there. The sun has started to shine here in Malvern, Worcestershire, Great Britain, and we are ready with our first discipline, the stock saw. Let's take a look at what it's all about.
The STIHL MS661CM stock saw is used in STIHL Timbersports as the ultimate test of operator skill. Designed for the toughest jobs in forestry, it produces approximately 7.3 horsepower, has a displacement of 91.1 cc, and weighs 7.4 kilograms. To ensure evenly and fairly matched saws, professional STIHL technicians prepare and test the saws before each competition. Stock saw. After the starting shot, the contestants have to cut 2 wooden discs, so-called cookies, within a 10-centimeter mark. 1 downward and 1 upward. The attempt is only valid when both discs have been cut off completely and within the marks.
Alrighty, so 5 heats for your delectation today. Heat 1 will see Rachel Farrington take to the stage on her own, and we're up against the clock here. Points mean prizes. Get them on the board and be knocking on the door of the British women's title come the end of this morning.
Yeah, and it's also difficult, you know, when you come up onto the stage alone because you don't have that adrenaline rush of another competitor on stage pushing you. So it's going to be up to Rachel to try and create that pressure for herself, which you know she's doing. I mean, we're often our own worst enemies and our own biggest critics. And, you know, Rachel is going to do her absolute level best to get through those 2 cookies as quickly as possible today.
Yeah, here she comes, our bronze medalist of last year, looking to improve, like all our women are. PBs, we saw a number of PBs tumble across the course of the weekend, and it'll be no different for Rachel.
Okay, warm up your saw.
Now here, Rachel will start that saw, give it a couple of injections of fuel into the motor, and be ready to go. And it is a running start.
Athlete ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Very nice start. Oh, that is a thin cookie to start things off. Beautiful transition by Rachel on the upcut, and this is looking good. Oh my God, we have our first world record. If that stands, it is a fantastic run on the day. Holy smokes, folks. Let's see if that stands,
wow.
But it looks like it. We have a world record if she does hold that, and we have good cookies on the deck. What a way to start this day off. Fantastic.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the cut's good.
And it is official, an 8.82 world record, obliterating the previous women's stock saw world record of 9.60. Fantastic.
Sensational start for Rachel and for today's action. Let's take a look at the replays. Troy, you said this wood is cutting good, and Rachel is off to an absolute flyer.
Yeah, that is a lightning start. I mean, there we go. There's our replay coming back. She had a bit of an angle up towards the inside on that upcut, but didn't bother her at all. She had nice control of the saw, a clean cut down. It was a super thin cookie, and as they say, thin to win. And I mentioned, you know, she's going to be challenging herself out there. Well, she just dropped the gauntlet for everybody else that's going to come up on stage today.
Right, so the stage is set and ready for Heat 2. These heats come thick and fast. Next up, we have 2 of our debutantes, Sophie Wren and Izzy Bignall.
All right, both of these women are competing for the first time. They've been training hard. I watched Izzy doing some of the roadshow, and she looked very good out there, especially with the chopping disciplines. We'll see how she handles this discipline with the saw in hand, the motor saw. There's Sophie Wren setting up there. I haven't seen her cut yet, so I'm very curious to know how this goes for these two women on our stock saw discipline.
Sophie is a bit of a petrol head anyway, Troy. She enjoys riding motorbikes in her spare time.
Perfect.
Okay. Warm up your saw. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Very nice start by Sophie Wren as she got in there really quickly. Izzy Bignell doing a great job on that transition to the upcut. Sophie Wren's got a good time, a 10.34 national record, and Izzy Bignell with a personal best 11.98, but we do have a flag on the play, so that is on stand A where Sophie was cutting, and we'll see what the look is. And now we have two flags on the play. We don't like to see those little stuffed yellow napkins on the floor.
So Andy Hall and Bart Janssen running the rule over both of these
Okay.
stocks.
We did a video check on stand 1 for a possible false start, and it was a false start, so DQ. Stand 2, incomplete disc, also a DQ.
And there's two women that are going to be gutted after looked like very, very good cuts to start things off. But if you get a little bit too quick and your reaction time is faster than our speed cameras here, you're going to get that jumped cut or jumped start. And if you cut over that line, that is one of the rules. You at a DQ. Those first two cookies look fantastic for both Sophie and Izzy, but yeah, you can see here the angle was just a little bit more to the inside at the motor body for Izzy there. And Sophie had a nice cookie on the upcut as well, but jumping the start was the cause of her problems on the day.
And unfortunately, there'll be no points for either Izzy or Sophie to go on the board. So in this stock saw discipline, Troy, tell me if I'm wrong, but it looks like one of the simpler events of STIHL Timbersports.
Easy to learn, hard to get good at because you have to know the motor and the machine that you're working with. It's about the operator skill, as you heard from the description earlier on. So it's just about listening and feeling the vibrations of the saw and hearing the motor if it starts to bog out at all during the run.
Okay, so heat 3 ready to go. Here on the screen you'll see Kat Eccles with a strong PB in this discipline of 12.55, and Georgia Lewis not far behind with her personal best in this discipline of 12.60.
Okay. Warm up your saw.
Georgia getting a lot of guidance, of course, from Glenn Pendleton.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, very nice pickup by Kat Eccles. Georgia Lewis with a really nice thin cookie to start things off with. Fantastic transition by Kat Eccles as she gets on that upcut right away, 10-10, and that's a national record, all things being equal. Georgia Lewis with a personal best 12.41, but it's going to come down to the final checks here on the discs and the lines. Oh, another hard angle there by Georgia. Let's see if that counts.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Both good.
Oh, I think she got a little bit lucky there. Good to be lucky, lucky to be good, Alex.
Yeah, great performance from both our athletes there. If we get to see a replay, Troy, I think that arguably Kat could have gone a little quicker. She kind of on that uptake with the saw, just got caught on the way through a little tentatively.
Well, it was a really nice start there by Georgia as she got a very thin cookie to start, and as we say, thin to win. You can see here the transition for Kat was very, very nice on the upcut. Georgia had the motor body again in a little bit farther towards the stand, the black thing you see there, and so it came really close to the line. You can see her kind of glancing at the line going, oops. So yeah, she got lucky on that one, but it's really about making sure that alignment is on point with the upcut as well. And this also comes from, you know, operator experience. Over time, you get to feel where those transitions work for you and where they don't work, and that experience is something that plays a key role for a lot of these athletes.
Okay, so our next heat is Heat 4, and our former British champ, who'll be looking to regain that crown today, Zoe Penlington, is on stand 1, and Louise Ellison from round the corner, Evesham, Worcestershire, is on stand 2. A raft of hobbies Louise has here.
Rafting is her hobby, or she has a raft of hobbies?
Of different, diverse hobbies, which we'll come to later once she's competed.
Okay. Warm up your saw. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Ooh, Zoe's got a big thick one. She's got to be careful on that upcut. Louise, very nice first cookie. Zoe's got herself a cutout, so she's going to have to go back and cut a third cookie to get that in line. And Louise has, I believe, done the same, but we may have some cut line problems here. Oh, boy.
Not really what we want to see.
No, we have a flag on the play for Louise Ellison, and I do believe that's going to be a cut line. And an incomplete cookie on that second one for Zoe, unfortunately, made her have to go back up and recut, but she didn't have a lot of space there, so hopefully that one's okay. We'll see.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, both on DQ, cut the line.
Not the start that either of these women wanted. Zoe is a very experienced stock sawyer as well, so you know that she's going to be disappointed with that result, absolutely.
First time on a timber sports stage for Louise Troy, and it got off to a good start.
Yeah, very nice cookie to start things off, but this is the tell here. The transition for the upcut, she had a bit of a swing, and then she saw that she started cutting into the log off canter, and then went over a little bit too far, and you can see that blue line start to disappear under the rolling chain, and that was the problem there for Louise's cut.
Okay, our final heats, heats 5 in the stock saw. We'll see Justine Ellis, again a former British champion, and our highest ranked British athlete in Libby Arrowsmith. Libby was a runner-up here last year and still only 18 years old.
Yeah, there's a pedigree in that family as they continue to improve as a family in timber sports, and Libby doing very, very well. Top-ranked British women's athlete at the moment, and Justine Ellis.
Yeah, Justine.
You were mentioning that recently married. This is her quasi-honeymoon.
Yeah.
Okay.
She got the fan club
Warm
here
up your
there as
saw.
well.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, dead even start by both Justine and Libby. This is looking good. Justine's got a bit of a thicker cookie to start things off with. Libby, beautiful transition on the upcut. She's struggling a little bit through the middle of that block, and she's got a 13.79. Justine had to readjust on the upcut, and she's got a 15.38 there. Came real close to the line. Libby also had that strange angle.
Congratulations. Both girls are good.
Okay.
Nice work. I was just about to say, Troy, the curse of stand 2 almost befell.
Seems like. I mean,
Libby.
the stands are also angled in, and sometimes, you know, the boards on the deck will fool an athlete's alignment as they get lined up. So they have to be aware of that as well. But, you know, this is something that they take care of fairly quickly. You can see here that first cookie was very good, and there Justine having to readjust as she already saw that she had a cutout started. Was good of her to make that notification and then re-continue her cut up and make sure that she got the points on the board. So right now, Rachel Farrington is atop the leaderboard with a brand new women's world record. A fantastic way to start. And Kat Eccles and Georgia Lewis rounding out the top 3 in the stock saw. And you can see there, that is our overall standings as well, this being our first discipline of the day.
All right, and that's exactly the kind of start we want to get off to, Troy.
Very much so.
A world record, no less. Fantastic work. 11 o'clock in the morning and a world record on a Sunday. Here
That'll
in Great
do.
Britain. Yeah, we'll take that. Unfortunately, we saw a number of DQs. What would you put those down to? Another a variety of reasons.
Butterflies, operator error. I mean, it almost inevitably comes down to operator error. And, you know, there can be some injuries at play here for a couple of the athletes. I know that Zoe's been dealing with a little bit of a back problem for a while now. You know, and if you watch the way that they're sitting on that log, they're bent really far over. Then they have to grab that saw and bring it up into place and make their cuts. So those kinds of things can wrench and twist and create all sorts of problems for athletes. But again, it's just about being focused on the day so that when you do get into that block that you're cutting straight and true on that down cut. And we saw that for most of the women. It was the transition to the upcut that became the problem.
Yeah, there is a chance for our athletes to recover in terms of points. We're going to move through now to our next discipline, the standing block chop. Let's take a look at what the standing block chop is all about.
The axes used in timber sports definitely can't be bought at your local hardware store. Made from special steel, the blade is hand sanded with an angle of 13 to 16 degrees. It's custom built and carefully adjusted for each competition. The weight is around 3 kilos and it's about 80 centimeters long. The blade is so sharp that you could shave with it. Standing block chop. At the standing block chop, the felling of a tree with an axe is simulated. A vertically positioned wooden block with a diameter of 25 centimeters has to be cut through from both sides. A powerful and precise swing with the axe is the premise of a good result.
Okay, the standing block chop heats. We have Kat Eccles and Georgia Lewis taking the stage initially. Then it'll be Zoe Penlington, Libby Arrowsmith, and Justine Ellis and Rachel Farrington. So 6 athletes are competing in this standing block chop. And this is a classic timber sport, an original extreme sport.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the classics. You also notice that 3 of the 9 athletes are not participating here. So if you're asking yourself what's going on, this is because those 3 athletes did not qualify for the standing. Now, the standing is one of the last disciplines the athletes will learn because you require a massive amount of control of the axe when you're doing this discipline. And so they have to prove themselves. It's almost like getting a driver's license for the axe.
And the actual choice of the axe is equally important, Troy.
Very much so, depending on how the wood is reacting to the different types of axe faces. There's the chisel, there's the banana, there's the half banana, and many other variations thereof with 13 or 15 or whatever degrees of shaving to that point. So depending on the type and the way the wood is reacting to the cuts, they'll make their axe choice on a test block in the back before coming up on stage.
Now, you've said to me in the past what you don't want in this event is salad.
No.
Explain salad.
Salad is what I have named the extra material that's hanging around at the faces of the of the blocks when they're cutting. So if you see an athlete that's got a very accurate cut, they'll have smooth faces on the upside and the downside of their cuts. Other athletes will be going for more power and quicker drivers into the block, so you'll see more steppy looking cuts in there, and sometimes there's a lot of loose wood, and that's what I call salad.
Okay, well, hopefully our next two competitors will not be facing any salad. We have Kat Eccles and Georgia Lewis in the first of our standing block chops.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, a bit of a sticky start there by Kat Eccles as she's got those first two drivers caught in the block, and now she's chipping out, and that'll make it a little bit easier to keep that axe moving. Georgia Lewis on the other side, a really nice start. Her upward cuts are actually very, very accurate, and the down cuts tend to be a bit steppier. And here you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Those ridges on the upcut there are non-existent for Kat Eccles, but on the down cut, she's got a few steps, and she's moved over to the other side of her block, about 2 drivers ahead of Georgia Lewis, who has now moved on to the second side of hers. And Kat Eccles looking very good on that second side. Her accuracy is looking really nice. There you can see what I'm talking about, a little bit of salad on Georgia Lewis's side. And this just comes from experience and time. Getting close for both of these women here. Kat, there it is. It's gone for Kat in 55-33, and Georgia coming close to it as well. You can see that top block starting to wiggle and waggle. 1:01.58 for Georgia Lewis. So not a personal best for either of these women, but they will take these times and run with it.
Kat looks really happy with her performance there, and she should be.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, congratulations. Both girls are good.
Positive start.
Positive start, and actually I've just been looking at our timing screen here. It indicates that Kat Eccles has a national record with 55.05, although the season's best is 52.86, so I don't know if that graphic is correct. Georgia Lewis is also going to take a personal best away there with a 1:01.57. And you could see some of that salad right there that I was talking about, just hanging before she managed to knock it away.
It's great to see Kat chopping so well. She had a nasty injury a couple of years ago as she broke her neck, Troy, so she's back on this stage.
Yeah,
she's fearless.
Incredible recovery by her. That's fantastic to see as well. I just wanted to point out, interestingly, on the second side of Kat's block, you saw a lot more accuracy in her drivers than you did on the first side, which is a curious phenomenon.
Okay, heat 3. We now have Zoe Penlington and Libby Arrowsmith, 2 of our top female competitors in Great Britain.
Now Zoe, a very experienced cutter, and we know that Libby Arrowsmith can also do some damage on those blocks. This is going to be a chance for Zoe to try and make up for the DQ in that stock saw. And we know that she can do it here. She's got the support of family and friends in the audience here. Libby Arrowsmith will be aiming to try and make big improvements on her previous best time.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Three down hits, or up hits, I should say, for Zoe Penlington. Then she starts working on the top and moving back and forth. Libby Arrowsmith, meanwhile, is holding no hits back. She is going with pace at that block. She really wants that time. It's looking very good for her. Zoe Penlington, nice, accurate drivers in there, getting those chips coming out. Libby Arrowsmith moving over to the second side of her block now. Zoe Penlington, I don't think she's too far away from going to the second side of hers. Libby, pure power in those drivers as she is angry at that block, and this looks like it might be a very good time For her, a little bit of a skip of the axe, but that didn't seem to bother her at all. It didn't get away from her. She kept control. Zoe Pendleton getting into that second side now with some nice heavy drivers. Libby pretty close to getting through that block now. The audience in the background giving both of our women some fantastic support. And Zoe and Libby really close to finishing off these blocks. One more driver for Libby Aerosmith, 104.29. She bests her personal best by a landslide. That's a great job. And Zoe Pendleton struggling on that second side now. She's almost there, but she got a little bit too much material left in the way. And it's a 116.41 for Zoe as she finishes that block off.
Congratulations, both girls are good.
Okay, Troy, so we know that this particular discipline is not just about the strength, it's about the technique, and the angles are really important here that the athletes are cutting the wood at.
The angles are incredibly important, and also your fitness level is very important. We know that both Zoe and Libby have been working hard on their fitness to make sure that they are in good shape, because you have to keep that axe going and you have to stay in control of that axe. And what you'll often see from young athletes who are feeling the vim and vigor of their youth, they'll just go for it, and on that second side, instead of having that angle to cut in, they'll cut with more straight drivers, and that happens just to bounce the axe right back out, so not actually removing any material. So there's a nice finish from Libby Aerosmith, and this was the last two drivers from Zoe Pendleton here before that block came off. And you could see, I mean, these are fit athletes, and they are breathing heavy at the end of that heat with those axes in hand.
Yeah, and we're delighted with the shape that the women's disciplines are in right now, Troy, and you know, it's great to have brought that into the mix, and we are celebrating our 40th year. It's incredible to say 40 years of STIHL Timbersports. It's been a glorious run. Things are improving all the time.
They are indeed, but there's a history to pack that improvement into. So let's take a look at a little clip of 40 years of timber sports.
STIHL Timbersports is gearing up for the 2025 season, celebrating 40 years of adrenaline-fueled logger sports history. Since 1985, the original extreme sport has grown from a U.S.-based event to the pinnacle series of global competitive woodchopping, with athletes and competitions in over 20 countries worldwide. Get ready for an axe-exhilarating season filled with passion, precision, and pure power.
Yeah, great to see just how far we've come since 1985.
But clearly our use of puns hasn't gotten any better. Accelerating. Oh, goodness gracious. All right.
Okay, we'll put the puns to one side and crack on with Heat 4. Justine Ellis and Rachel Farrington. Two British national record holders and a world record holder in Rachel Farrington. It's the last heat on the standing block chop. Steely determination and focus from both our athletes now. Big points at stake.
Yeah, right now the fastest cutter in the standing block chop is Kat Eccles, with Georgia Lewis just behind her in second place, and that puts Kat Eccles atop the overall standings. But this is before Justine and Rachel will have their cut.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Rachel standing there like a spring-loaded ferret ready to attack that block. I mean, that's a different way of going at it, and she gets into it right away, and you can see she's absolutely focused on getting through that block quickly. Justine looking good. She's got some nice chips coming out of there. Big one fell right there. Keeping a close eye on the stage here. Who's going to shift to the other side? It is going to be Rachel Farrington moving over to the other side of her block ahead of Justine Ellis. Again, remember, folks, sometimes the front side is faster, sometimes the back side is faster. So it's about the technique and the decision that the cutter has made on when to switch over. It doesn't necessarily always mean they should go over one at the same time as the other. Now you can see there's a bit of salad left over on Justine's block on that first side. So she left a fair amount of material to cut through, and Rachel Farrington's getting there, and she's done it in 59.18. Great job. That puts her in second place in the standing block chop results. Justine still working through. She's coming pretty close. You can see it starting to wiggle a little bit there. Getting plenty of support from her fan club in the audience. A couple of sticky axes, though, and I think maybe just a little bit too much material left on that first side. A short cut and then a fairly open face on the second side, and unfortunately for her, she's got a DQ for the time limit exceeded, and it was just 1.5 drivers. She's going to be gutted about that because she knows and has done much better before.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have a DQ on stand 1, succeeds the time limit. However, stand 2 is good.
Wonderful showing from Rachel there, Troy, and it's consistency is key here. She's putting the big points on the board.
She is at that, and let's take a look back here. What was going on with Justine Ellis here? So you can see she got some nice big chips out. She was going for those power drivers, but she was cutting new material in a lot of cases. And we see here, Rachel, pretty nice accurate drivers on the bottom. You can see that line is nice and clean and smooth on that bottom face. And the top face a little bit steppy, but not the end of the world. Now, in my opinion, and this could be the thought process is different, but in my opinion, here, Justine left just a little bit too much material on that first side before she switched to the second side. Might have felt a little bit of pressure seeing Rachel Farrington go over to the second side of her block early on. But yeah, that's just the way the cookie crumbles in this case. And we do have a DQ in the mix and some times logged in. So that's our standing block chop results. Yeah. And if we'll get a look at how that affects the overall results here, we'll see that Rachel Farrington is sitting in second place, tied with points with Kat Eccles, who is in the top spot at the moment, and Georgia Lewis, a very good showing for her in her second full season, in third place right now. And Libby Aerosmith in fourth, with Justine Ellis sitting in fifth place and rounding out the top 5 there.
Yeah, it's anyone's game today. You saw even Libby Aerosmith in fourth place. She was the runner-up last year. 4 athletes there. Concertina knocking on the door of our women's title for 2025. Our next discipline is on the horizon. It's the single buck, the misery whip, as you call it.
The misery whip, as we see one next to you.
Yeah, I wonder where
Be careful, those are very sharp teeth.
I've been brushing them, don't worry. Yeah, let's see what the misery whip, the single buck, is all about.
The 2-meter-long cross-cut saw used for the single buck discipline is made especially for competition. A series of consistently patterned 10-centimeter-long teeth are cut with a laser on one side of the saw and then hand sharpened. Saw teeth are divided into 2 types, cutters and rakers, just like on the old-school saws. The saw weighs about 5 kilos and its base price starts at around €1,500. Single buck. The single buck is a one-man saw about 2 meters long. With this, the athletes have to cut off a complete disc from a 40-centimeter thick wooden block. The perfect interplay between rhythm and strength is the key to success.
Okay, the single buck. We have 5 heats. 9 of our athletes, all 9 of our athletes will compete for points in this one, and it is a big one. It's a beast.
It is a beast. Up to 2 meters long. These single saws with their 10-centimeter long cutting and sweeping teeth are, as you and I both well know, are very, very difficult to move and keep moving. And that really is the key here, to keep that saw moving. Get it started and keep the flow going. Don't angle that saw at all. Just keep it straight and see if you can get to the bottom of that block quickly.
And here's Louise Ellison getting primed and ready. Nice story in the fact that Louise was sat in our audience last year watching the Timber Sports transpire, and here she is 1 year later up on stage competing for the British Championships. Now, if much like Louise, you fancy your chances, you want to get involved in the wonderful world of STIHL Timber Sports in Great Britain, all you need to do is send us an email, timbersports@stihl.co.uk, timbersports@stihl.co.uk, much like Louise did 12 months ago. Get in touch with us and we'll point you in the direction of one of our amazing training camps to guide you through.
And we've actually seen quite an influx of both rookie and women's athletes coming to the sport through that very email. So nice to see, and it's fantastic the amount of women that are joining the sport here.
Okay. Athlete ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
All right, very nice start by Louise Ellison as she got it going. A little bit of a hookup there as the angle changed a little bit on her, but she wants to keep this saw moving and keep that flow going. Now you can see exactly what I'm talking about. That small angle change when she lifts up her hands at the back of the cut just hooks up those teeth. She wants to keep that saw as flat and as level as possible so she can keep it moving through each of those cuts. So each of those stops means that she's got to restart that saw, and that is a wrestling match with these 2-meter-long cross-cut saws. The traditional type of saw from back in the day. They have the single buck and the double buck as she continues on. Every once in a while getting hooked up on that push through. The draw is no problem. It's the push through that's causing problems for her as she gets down to the bottom of this cut. And she is through with a 50.59 time. But we do have oh my goodness, it's the first time I've seen that in a while. It could be a cutout. So we are under review here, and Bart is going to take a close look at that and give us a decision.
Okay, we did review the video, and we have a DQ for false start.
Oh my goodness, okay, so it was a false start, not a cutout. She had a very thin cookie. I thought that maybe she'd gotten away from the cookie, but it was a false start, and that is unfortunate.
So talk us through that then, Troy. Did Louise just start a tad early?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't notice it when the starting signal went, if she was already moving that saw or not. But they have these high-speed cameras to keep a close eye on these athletes, and they're able to see within a hundredths or a thousandths of a second when that saw moves compared to the starting gun. So unfortunately, she was a little bit quicker than or anticipated the start and jumped that start, and that's a DQ. I mean, she had okay flow through there. Each of her pushes were a little bit of lift on the back end, and that hooked up the teeth, which caused problems for restarting the saw and keeping that flow going. But it's a moot point with a DQ because of a false start. So those are things that all of our new athletes will take and add to their bank of knowledge and try and improve on as we go along. And we do see vast improvements as the years go by with each of these athletes coming back and continuing to gain experience competing.
Yeah, and you'd have thought Louise would be akin to a start of a race, because she's done many, many ultra marathons and triathlons in her time. She's even competed in an escape from Alcatraz triathlon to make her way to our stage show. Next up, in Heat 2 of the single buck.
Yeah, he too should be Sophie Wren and Izzy Bignell. We just saw Kat Eccles bringing the saw up on stage for Sophie, I believe, who's going to be on stand A. Now, these saws are quite expensive, so for some of the athletes who don't have their own saw yet, they'll borrow saws from the other athletes, which is one of the great things about this sport. You know, the women and the men, they want to help each other out as much as possible, so they will share equipment. You'll often see that with the hot saws in the men's competition. You know, when somebody doesn't have their own saw, or, you know, they've had problems with their saw, they can borrow one of the other guy's saws, which is, you know, it's a really nice thing to see in this sport.
And these women are two debutantes on the STIHL Timbersport stage for 2025. Izzy, no stranger to competition, because she has previously been a competitive gymnast. And you've explained to me, Troy, that you do need to work those hips in this event. It's a key part of this.
Yes, you do. Pushing off that back leg and driving the power through the core and really using that to your advantage to keep that big, long 2-meter crosscut saw moving. Sophie seems to have got her saw positioned the way she wants it. And here we go.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
All right, and there you see really quickly on Izzy's, why they call this the misery whip. If that saw stops on a push through, you get that little bow, but now she seems to have gotten the flow going pretty well. Sophie Wren on the other side, a little bit sticky there for her as well on that push through, but she is fighting hard to get it there. Izzy pretty close to the bottom of her cut, rounding in on 30 seconds now, and she's looking fairly solid as she gets to the bottom of this cut here. Keeping that competitive spirit alive, and she is through in 35.97. That is a great time. She'll take the top spot in the single buck for the women so far. Sophie Wren, meanwhile, struggling on the bottom half of that cut. Too many angle changes for her as she gets to the bottom of it now in 50.91. So that will put her in second place for the moment.
Congratulations. Both girls are good.
All right, so there you could see Izzy Bignell there, right there. That's that bowing of the saw, which is why a few athletes do call it the misery whip. Love that name, though. It's just fun to call it that.
Important to master the breath in this event as well.
Yes.
It's another one of the STIHL Timbersports where you can forget to breathe.
Yeah, I mean, when you're in competition mode and if you haven't trained it enough, it's, you know, you tend to get into the action and then start holding your breath as you go through it. And that's probably the worst thing you could do, because you want to keep that blood oxygenated so that you don't get all lactic acid running through your veins there and get your muscles all tightened up.
Heat 3, we have Kat Eccles and Georgia Lewis taking on the single buck.
I'm curious to see how this heat goes down. These are two very well-matched athletes in this discipline, but Kat has great experience on the single buck, and she should be strong here. As I mentioned before, Georgia has the advantage of being able to train with Glenn Penlington and Zoe Penlington. So the critical spot here, you could see angling that saw before she sets her guideline. just to make sure that she's going down straight. Because, again, if you see that saw go in at an angle, you're cutting more and more wood deeper into the block, and you don't want to do that. You also don't want to angle it so it's cutting out towards the outside, and you have a cutout or risk of a broken disc here.
Georgia is an expert cutter. She also has a cake making and decorating business. Bigger scale though today.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Good start by Kat Eccles, goes for a bit of pace off the top of that saw, and then gets that entire saw into action. Georgia Lewis, very much the same situation. She keeps it going. You can see her blowing through those cheeks each time that she pushes through, and that's good. Keep that oxygen moving. Kat Eccles, Georgia Lewis, really well matched up. Oh, a bit of a hook up there by Kat Eccles as she comes close to the bottom of her cut. She hooks up again, big time. Georgia Lewis keeping it smooth through the bottom. A 30.90 for Georgia Lewis and 34.70 for Kat Eccles. Really nice cuts by both of those women, and Georgia Lewis moves to the top of the single buck rankings.
Congratulations. Both girls are good.
Troy, there's slightly different angles and cutting styles from both our women there. Kat more like a vertical cut, whereas George had the more diagonal approach.
Well, it was interesting because if you watch Kat, when she started, she was nearly flat, perpendicular to the floor. And as she got down towards the bottom, she started to angle a bit more. And I think that's where she ran into the issue with the saw stopping so quickly and so abruptly for her. The angle for Georgia, she kept it at maybe 25 degrees up angle and just kept that saw flowing straight the whole time. So she did a really nice job there. You know, both of them pretty quick through that cut. I think Kat will look at the video of that and say, you know, I know exactly where I made the mistake.
Okay, heat 4 now. In the single buck, we have Rachel Farrington and Justine Ellis.
So right now, Georgia Lewis atop the single buck results with Kat Eccles right behind her. One more heat to go here, or excuse me, 2 more heats to go here in single buck. Rachel Farrington and Justine Ellis getting loaded up on stage now. They'll set their saws and go for it.
Rachel is used to handling long metallic objects. She was a knight, a Lady Lancelot at equine shows across the country. She used to joust, Troy.
Really?
Yeah.
You're finding out information about these athletes so random, out of this world info. I love it. It's fun.
We're going to see, of course, the power that Justine possesses. She's previously competed in strong woman competitions across the country.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
You'll also notice that Justine was wearing the track shoes with the spikes in them to give her better purchase on the floor there. A little bit sticky by both of them to get the saw started, but now you see Justine, she's going for the power and speed in there, using the middle section of the saw. Rachel trying to use the entire length of that saw. That's a nice, very efficient cut by Rachel. A couple of angle changes, and she has to fight it as she gets to the bottom of the cut with a 26.66. And Justine, a hook up at the bottom, and she is really stuck there. She's going to have to hop that saw for one final push, and a 33.60. So Rachel Farrington slips up to the top of the single buck results, and after adjustment, she's got a 26.37. And Georgia Lewis still holding on to the second fastest time. Justine Ellis, though, nicely done with a 33.38, sits in third place.
Congratulations. Both girls are good.
Rachel once again, incredible showing.
Yeah, she's got her eyes on the prize today for sure, Alex.
It was a little bit sticky at the top for Justine, and again at the bottom, Troy.
Yeah, and this all comes down to, you know, that angle. You cannot change that angle, especially at the bottom of the cut, because there are two things playing a role here. The binding of the wood on the saw itself, and then here, there's that angle change, and it happens one more time, and she just gets really hooked up. She has to bounce the saw to get it back up there, and there it is, and the push through for that final cut. And that took about 4, maybe 5 seconds to get that whole procedure taken care of.
This is our last heat in the single book. Former British champ Zoe Penlington and last year's runner-up Libby Arrowsmith.
Should point out that Rachel Farrington with her 26.37 does have now officially the national record. Previously, it was 30.66, as you see there. This is a very strong discipline for Libby, so look for her to get into this right away and really keep that saw flying. Zoe also very, very strong in single saw.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Nice start by both Zoe and Libby. And you can hear Zoe's saw going through that. Very nice and clean, solid run. She's using the entire length of the saw. Libby going for pure speed. And, oh, wow, she's using the full length of that saw as well. She's looking very good here. She might get to the bottom of this one in a super fast time. Libby almost at the bottom of that cut, and she is, oh, a little sticky one there. And again, it caught her at 28.67. And, oh, just slipped in behind Rachel Farrington in second place. And Zoe at the bottom of hers gets it in 38.36. A little bit of a rough one through the middle there, and you can see the burn marks from the speed of that saw running through that block, though.
So Libby there, Troy, mightily close to sneaking in at top spot, and just got caught a little at the end, but it was a great start for both our girls.
Yeah, interesting start by Libby as she just went for those speed cuts at the top, but usually what we were seeing from her is that she's using, you know, speed cuts but in the middle of the saw, and she's now adapted that. She's going for speed cuts but using the entire length of the saw. You can see the tip of the saw disappearing into the wood here, and it was just at that sticky bottom that caused her a bit of a problem, but she did get through there in a very nice time of 28.57. That puts her in second place just behind Rachel Farrington in the single buck standing. So let's take a look at the single buck standings official now with Rachel Farrington atop the list there, but it'll be interesting to see how this affects the overall.
Yeah, I just feel that Rachel Farrington is opening up a little bit of a gap, a little bit of breathing space on those competitors around her, and let's see how that affects the table. So, yes, she does. 4 points in it now between herself, Rachel Farrington, and Kat Eccles in second place. Georgia Lewis knocking on the door with 21. And don't discount Libby Arrowsmith with 20 points in fourth place. We have one discipline to go, Troy. The saw is being packed away and the axes are coming out to play.
Yeah, this next discipline is our final discipline for the women. It's where they can gain additional points. And right now we see Georgia Lewis is in that Heat 1 coming up against Izzy Bignell. I watched them both during the road shows the other day. Both are cutting underhand very, very well. And the way the wood's been cutting these days, it could shift things around a little bit in the overall standing. So it'll be very interesting to see how this next discipline plays out.
Yeah, the Women's British Championship is on the line. Let's take a look at this, our final discipline, the underhand chop.
The axes used in timber sports definitely can't be bought at your local hardware store. Made from special steel, the blade is hand-sanded with an angle of 13 to 16 degrees. It's custom built and carefully adjusted for each competition. The weight is around 3 kilos and it's about 80 centimeters long. The blade is so sharp that you could shave with it. Underhand chop. In the past, the underhand chop technique was used to split logs. Standing on a horizontally anchored block, the athletes use an axe to cut through a 30-centimeter log. The block has to be worked from both sides.
The stage is set for our final discipline, the underhand chop. 4 heats, 8 of our athletes competing for the big points. The British Women's Championship is on the line. Heat 1 will see Georgia Lewis and Izzy Bignell. Heat 2 will be Sophie Wren and Kat Eccles. Rachel Harrington and Zoe Penlington will go in Heat 3, and Libby Arrowsmith and Justine Ellis will conclude proceedings in Heat 4.
Keep a close eye on this world record here for women is 23.61. Season's best 39.84. I'm expecting we're going to see something very, very close even in this first heat. And these blocks have been cutting very, very, very well this weekend. We've seen a lot of personal bests fall by the wayside. A little bit of nerves there from Izzy Bignell as she steps up onto the block. Here we go.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Really quick start from Izzy as she got into that wood right away. Georgia on the other side doing a great job chipping out some nice blocks, or nice chips, I should say. Izzy, very, very accurate drivers there on that first side. Same with Georgia, looking really good. Who's going to switch over to that other side first? Are we going to have a shortcut or a wide open face? It's going to be Georgia moving over to the other side of her block. She's been training this really, really hard to make sure that she has got her drivers on point. And you can see she's almost hitting the same line every time, and that plays a huge role in how much material you'll get out of there and how fast. Izzy still on that first side as she's looking to go deep on the first side and not have to do as much work on that second side perhaps. But that block is wiggling and waggling. She's got to be careful. And Georgia Lewis with a 46.83 cut. Nicely done. She's happy with that. Izzy moving to the second side now. And again, this is her first major competition. And she's got plenty of friends and family in the audience supporting her. You can hear them in the background as she gets into the minute mark. She's got to be careful here. She wants to get through that block inside of 130. Otherwise, we might be looking at a DQ. She's working hard, switching the sides up and down and making sure those hits are right there. But she's got a lot of material to go here. Hopefully she can get through there in the time allotted. And unfortunately, that's going to be a DQ for time exceeded for Izzy Bignell. You could see the skill is there. You could see the motivation is there. It's just going to be time and experience for her at this point.
Okay, unfortunately, we have a DQ on stand 3. Exceeded the time limit. However, stand 1 is good.
Yeah, wonderful performance from Georgia. And you can see the extra effort she's put in. She went over to New Zealand at Christmas for their Christmas circuit, Troy, and was competing in the underhands over there. And you can see how that's come out in her performance today.
and you can see the accuracy on her drivers as well. Those faces of the cuts are smooth. She's not cutting new material. She's staying in line with the previous cut lines, and that just means it's quick, you know? You're not cutting new material, and you can see on that left side of her block there, nice smooth face, a little steppy on the right side, but everybody's got a chocolate side, and that bodes well for Georgia Lewis. So as we get ready for our next heat with Sophie Wren and Kat Eccles.
Okay, we're just about ready to welcome on both our athletes, Sophie Wren and Kat Eccles. What's the kind of technique we'd be looking out for here, Troy?
Well, I mean, always accuracy, but you have to balance that with power as well. But you don't want to overpower your drivers into the block either, because getting stuck in there is not fun.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
You can see right away, Kat went with a couple of big power drivers on her left side, but they got promptly stuck in the block. But she's looking good. And you can see there, that's an accuracy I was talking about. Nice lines, each time hitting on the same line, and that means bigger chips and larger amounts of material coming out. That means she can probably switch to the other side of her block a bit quicker. Sophie Wren, a little bit of a skipped axe there, but she kept it in control. Still looking pretty good as she digs through that first side. And beautiful cut lines for Kat Eccles there. Absolutely fantastic accuracy. She'll open it up on the second side now as she moves over and is facing our audience and gets working on that second side. Some nice big chips coming out. Sophie Wren still on her first side, and now she switches gingerly over to the second side of her block and starts working on that second side. Kat pretty close to coming through this one, I believe. And there it's wiggling and waggling a bit. A couple more drivers should do it for Kat Eccles, and she is through in 59.18. Sophie Wren still working on that second side, and the more you have to cut new material, the more fatigued you're going to get. And you can see what's happening here. She's got a lot of salad there, a lot of steps in that cut. And so if she works in time on her accuracy, she'll improve her speed massively as she's got a few more seconds to go as she steps down, but had the wherewithal to make sure that she did not swing the axe before she got back up. And she did it in the time limit, so she's at 1:26.43. Good job by her to finish and get through that block.
Okay, congratulations. Both go good.
And you can see here, Kat, just really beautiful, accurate drivers, smooth sides. She's just shaving that wood out of there instead of cutting it out. And you can see each time that she gets in a really nice, accurate up and then down on one side, that chip flies out of there. So it was a good axe choice by her. And the wood is really behaving nicely. On the second side here, you can see a couple more drivers to get through that block and to close out this time at 58.98. Well done by Kat Eccles. Sophie Wren as well. She's the only other to put a time in today and under the 1:30 time at 1:26.18. So we have 3 times on the board. And right now, Georgia Lewis's time of 46.51 is the time to beat, Alex.
Yeah, and you've talked, Troy, about how well the wood is cutting today in particular and yesterday. And it's going well for our women this morning here at Malvern, Worcestershire. But the stage crew, as they clean up, there's a lot of material on the stage, Troy. Yep. It doesn't just go in the bin, it does get recycled. We're all about sustainability here at STIHL Timbersports.
Yes, we are. And to explain that, here's a little bit of an indication of how we are sustainably managing our wood.
We at STIHL Timbersports pride ourselves that all wood is sustainably grown, harvested and recycled to minimise the overall amount of wood processed. Firstly, this popular wood is grown on certified plantations. Secondly, the white pine for our sawing disciplines is only sourced from certified forest management. After all our steel competitions, all the spent wood is collected and recycled right down to the wood chips and sawdust, which, for example, is converted into renewable energy in the form of wood pellets for biomass. We quest to find certified partners. This ensures that all newly planted trees are nurtured and managed, promoting maximum efficiency and sustainability for the future conservation of our valuable forests.
Therefore, as you can see, with good harvesting practices and good management with silviculture, the ground is quickly replaced by new trees, or could even be used for arable for farmers and future rotations.
Okay, so this Great British Championship is on an axe edge, Troy. We have
that.
Georgia Lewis and Kat Eccles, top of the tree at the moment, 30 points. They've already chopped. But Rachel Farrington, if she can get some decent points under her belt in this, her final showing, alongside Zoe Pennington, Rachel could at least finish on the podium today.
She's well on target for the top of that podium. The way she's been performing today, she has definitely come in and put her stamp on this event.
Excellent. So this is the moment of reckoning, putting everything she's trained for into practice now. That PB of 1:13. And Zoe's PB, not to be sniffed at as well, 1:09.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Both of our women right into it. Zoe Pennington chipping out nicely. Rachel Farrington, same there. A bit of a sticky one for Zoe. And you can see some really good, accurate chops on Rachel's side there. Zoe, a technician with the axe on the underhand chop as she gets deep on that first side. I expect that Zoe will probably be to the other side quickly, but Rachel's right there with her. Maybe a half driver back of Zoe on that second side. Big chips coming out for her. So we take a look at those chainmail safety socks that all athletes are required to wear, and Rachel opting to wear them on the outside of her pants instead of on the inside. Zoe Pennington digging in on that second side. It looks pretty good here for both of them. We might see them get through, and it's Rachel Farrington, excuse me, with a 48.52, and Zoe pretty close to getting through there as well. Can she do it in under a minute? It was getting close, but she's just past a minute. Oh, so close with 1:01.46 for Zoe Pennington.
Congratulations. Both girls are good.
All right, so Rachel Farrington continues her bid for the top of the podium, and she's looking very good. Second place in the underhand chop so far with a 48.27. Georgia Lewis, still the fastest on the underhand, who's been looking very, very good in this discipline as of late with a 46.51. And there you can see Rachel and Zoe working hard on that block. Some nice accurate drivers for Rachel there. And one more heat to go, heat number 4, Alex.
Yes. And he talked about Rachel's bid for the top. It's more like a charge for the top of the leaderboard. We'll see how it's all come out in the wash, but PBs being set left, right and centre. Wonderful performances, and this is the final performance of the day, and it includes Libby Arrowsmith and Justine Ellis.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
So Justine's personal best, 40 seconds for the underhand chop. She's right into it. Libby Arrowsmith just a bit over 54 seconds. And you know that she's been working on making improvements here, although she did have a little step down there. Didn't seem to bother her too much as she gets right back up and continues working. Now they both move over to the second side, with Libby starting that second side just about a half driver ahead of Justine. And they're working that second side with some beautiful chips coming out, a couple of sticky axes, and we may see a fast time here for Justine as she is really working it hard to try and get through that block as quickly as possible. She's not going to get a personal best on this one. There's a little bounce of the axe, but she is pushing hard, and she's got herself a 44.55. She takes over the top spot in the underhand, and Libby Aerosmith with a 48.64, and that is a personal best for Libby. So very well done for her.
Congratulations. Both girls are good.
All right, let's take a look back here, Alex. You could see Justine starts things off with an aggressive stance, a wide open face on that first side. Libby Aerosmith really going hard on that first side as well. She did step down, so that will cause some timing problems, but nothing major for her as she still managed to get a personal best. And Justine's final driver, not her fastest time, but still fast enough to put her in the top of the underhand chop. All right, so that is all she wrote for our competition. All there is now to do is to take a look at the results of the underhand chop and how that affects our overall results here, Alex.
Yeah, wonderful performances across the board. And it's Justine Ellis who takes the full 9 points. Georgia Lewis, great chopping from her, 8 points for her. And Rachel Farrington, 7 points in this discipline.
All right, we'll send Alex out to the stage as we take a look at the final results, and that means Kat Eccles will be your bronze medalist here today. Georgia Lewis in the silver medal position in second place, and Rachel Farrington with a bullet 33 points in the top spot in number 1 position. And she came in here with an absolute dart and did what she needed to do to take on the top spot here. And we'll get ready for our awards ceremony on the main stage here as Alex is going to jet out to the stage and take care of the rest of the festivities for us. But what a great day of action, and it just goes to show where Timber Sports is going for all aspects of it, but especially for our women. 9 women participating today. That is one of the largest numbers of British women in one fell swoop that we've had since the onset of the event here, and it just keeps getting better and better. So let's head out to the main stage with Alex for our awards ceremony.
Thank you very much, Troy. Yeah, thank you to you, the great British public, as well, for supporting our women here in this championships this morning here in Malvern, Worcestershire, Great Britain. And we are ready for our medal presentation ceremony. Our podium is set and we are ready to go. So presenting the medals and awards today will be Vicky Tween, our marketing communications manager from STIHL GB. Big thanks to Vicky and everyone behind the scenes in putting these wonderful championships together. All right, so let's have our athletes onto the stage. 9th place today, making her debut. Please give it up for Louise Ellison. And another solid start with her Timber Sports career. 8th place, Izzy Bignall. The third of our debutantes in 7th place this morning, Sophie Wren. In 6th place, please give it up for Zoe Penlington. In 5th place, Justine Ellis. Fourth place competitor, Libby Aerosmith. And on to the podium finishes now, into the prizes. 3rd place today, Kat Eccles. And here comes the runner-up, second place in our British Women's Championships of 2025, Georgia Lewis. And please give it up for our great British champion of 2025, the winner, first place, Rachel Farrington. Congratulations to Kat, Georgia, and Rachel. So, as is customary, we're ready to bring out the fizzy stuff. Excellent stuff. Not sure Rachel's going to be able to see, but I do need to talk to you, Rachel, if you can get the fizzy stuff out of your eyes. Mascara everywhere. Listen, an amazing showing from you today. Congratulations. Talk us through, because looking at the points you posted on the board, Rachel, it was win-win. Second place, right the way through today, but give us your take on it.
It was all just a blur, to be honest. After last year getting DQ'd on the stock, so I was like, that is not happening again. And so when I did well on that, I was like, right, nothing to lose.
Was there a moment today, Rachel, that you thought, look, I'm on top form here today, and I'm heading towards the top of that podium?
I never think that. All the girls here try so hard, and they're so good. You can't take anything for granted.
How much have you enjoyed it today, and what's been your favourite discipline?
I think I surprised myself on the underhand, because that's generally my weakest. I disappointed myself on my standing block. But yeah, I think probably the underhand, to be honest. Yeah.
And what kind of shape is the women's championships in, and behind the scenes? How's it all going? Because it seems like today it was up for grabs and you've come out on top, but there was a lot of people knocking on the door for this title.
Yeah, I genuinely thought at the start today it could go any way. It could be anyone's. So, you know, just give it your best. That's all you can do.
And what's the pathway like for women and rookies and men who want to get into the sport?
Just give it a go. You know, everyone is so friendly and encouraging. Just get in touch and give it a go.
Listen, we're absolutely delighted for you. Congratulations once again. Our winner, Rachel Farrington. All the best, Rachel. Go and enjoy the rest of the fizzy, sparkling wine if you can. Thank you so much to you, our audience here in Malvern and on YouTube, joining us on the live stream. Big thanks to my good friend and expert commentator, Troy Mannering. You can join us at 3 p.m. today for our Rookie Championships on this very stage. Until then, have a look back and enjoy the highlights from today's British Women's Championships here at STIHL, Great Britain.